Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. There comes a moment in time for every student when the regular time management skills just don't cut it anymore. So over my own experience of 4 years of high school, I've created 6 advanced time management strategies that will help you no matter where you are. So let's get started. So strategy number 1, that's remember, you are responsible for your own time and you are responsible for your own achievements. No one really cares what happens in the end to you. So as a result, learn to recognize wastes of time that have become quite normal, that have become accepted by everyone around you and including you. Perhaps you go to school in the morning and you sit in the classroom and you just waste your time over there. Maybe that time could have been used to do something more productive. Or perhaps while you're sitting over there, you can do the low value tasks such as checking your email. Tip number 2 is do not compare yourself in any case to those around you. Because you see, oftentimes you'll find the smart people who are just slacking off at school, yet in reality they're working extremely hard at home. Just that you don't see it. In my school, the smart people would always sit in the corner and play video games all the time. And they would give you the impression that they don't work at all. But you have no idea how hard they were working at home. Yet if you didn't know that they're grinding for hours on end at home, you would assume that you can get by doing minimal effort, just like these people, and you would go and play the video games with them. And as a result, when exam time comes around, you'd be the one who's screwed. Now tip number 3 would be constantly evaluate and remember the 20/80 rule. If you don't know what this is, it's essentially a life-changing rule that says that 80% of all the results of everything that actually happens comes from just 20% of the inputs or the materials or the time spent, whatever it is. So in my own experience, every day I had a choice of taking a taxi home or taking the public transport. And obviously I thought taxi would be faster, but actually it turned out that public transport took at least the same time, or sometimes it would be even faster. The taxi would require waiting. You would have to book a taxi. Your initial assumptions of what is the most efficient may change over time. The key is to constantly reflect and compare that to the 80/20 rule. Now the 4th tip is remember Parkinson's law and use Parkinson's law for adding urgency to make yourself as efficient as humanly possible. What is Parkinson's law, by the way? It states that work will expand to fill the time it's given. So you can have a task that could take 2 minutes and you could do that in half an hour, or you could do that in 2 minutes. It depends on how much time you've allocated towards it. So how does this translate into the life of a student? Basically, you start working out or exercising for at least 1 hour a day, or you increase the amount of extracurricular activities of the non-academic stuff that you do at school. So you've got less time to study. Because you've got less time to study, you're forced, absolutely forced, and you have no choice but to study extremely efficient in that limited time, meaning no distractions and complete focus. An additional benefit of Parkinson's law is identity diversification, meaning if your grades don't turn out to be that great, you don't feel completely wrecked, because you don't just stand for that number. You stand for a whole host of other things, such as a side business, such as an exercise, such as a hobby, and all sorts of things beside. Now this next tip is particularly exciting, and it's called synergizing. What do we mean by synergizing? It's essentially do things that kill multiple birds with one stone. Not just one stone for 2 birds, but one stone for 3 birds, for 4 birds, for 5 birds. Let me give you the example of one friend. He wrote one essay and he used it for 3 submissions. 2 for the internal school and 1 as a college application. So you see, by reusing the same essay and by writing things or doing things such that you can use them in multiple spots, you reduce significantly the amount of work you have to do and the time you have to spend doing that work. Tip number 6 is what I call the battle of attrition. You wage war against the number of tasks that you have to do, against all the work that you have to do until it is completely obliterated and reduced to smithereens. This is especially important when you've got lots of work to do. Maybe you're doing A levels, maybe you're doing IB, whatever it is. Even in college, what this does is, it ensures you've completed the work far before the deadline. And as a result, you are no longer living from crisis to crisis. It's not that the deadline is tomorrow, but it's in 2 months' time. So you've got lots of mental space to work on all the other things you want to do. My final tip is don't get caught up in the thick of thin things. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And if you're watching this video, you're probably similarly a perfectionist. You don't want to send that assignment in until it is absolutely perfect. But remember, at one point, it isn't worth the additional effort to keep polishing that assignment, to delete one word here and to add another word there. You just have to submit it and keep moving on. This is the dreaded perfectionism trap of students, which prevents them from doing all the work that's needed and ends up turning into a form of procrastination. When you're changing the font or when you're changing the font size of some minor detail on a project, when a lot of other important projects are waiting for you. Well, my friends, those are my advanced time management strategies for students. What do you think about this? Leave a comment, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.